Hello everyone! I'm Ola and this is Coding is for Girls. In my previous video, I gave you 2 challenges to solve using everything we learned so far about Python. I will place the link to this video in the description below. I already showed you how to solve the challenge number 1 in the video. I will also place link somewhere in the description below and time to challenge number 2. So let's start with reminding what challenge number 2 was all about. We wanted a program that asks a first question and gives you 4 possible answers. Then it waits for user to type 1, 2, 3 or 4. Then second question is displayed and it waits for your answer. Then third, fourth, fifth and so on. When user answers the last question, we should check how many answers user answered correct and calculate the score. We add 1 if user answered the question correctly and 0 otherwise. Finally, we want to display your score is result out of number of questions. Okay, so we want to open our code editor and start coding. But before we do that, we need to have 10 questions for our quiz. And I wouldn't be myself if the question won't be related to Python. Here is a little quiz for you. I will show you all the questions I prepared. And if you want to check your Python knowledge, grab a piece of paper or open a file and mark down all the answers you think are correct. Question number 1 is what command you use on Mac to create a new folder in console? 1. mkdir, 2. makedir, 3. dir, 4. ls. Question number 2. How do you define text or string in Python? 1. Only wrapping a text with single quotes. 2. Only wrapping a text with double quotes. 3. Wrapping a text with single or double quotes or even with triple double quotes. 4. None of the above is true. Next question is how you could transform number to string in Python. 1. Using float function. 2. Using str function. 3. Using string function. 4. Using .text method. Fourth question is when you compare two values and want to check if value A is equal to value B, how do you compare it in Python? 1. Using equal sign. 2. Using equal sign. 3. Using exclamation mark equal sign. 4. Using lower than and then greater than sign. Question number 5. What is a correct way in Python to represent Boolean true value? 1. True. 2. Capital True. 3. 1. 4. True with capitalized first letter. Question number 6. If you want to create a dictionary in Python, you use 1. Square brackets. 2. Normal brackets. 3. Curly brackets. 4. Lower than, greater than signs. Question number 7. If we have dictionary like this, participant equals name, Ola, languages Polish, English and German, country Poland, how we would check how many languages Ola speaks? 1. Len from participant with key languages. 2. Participant from languages.count. 3. Len from participant. 4. Participant from languages.items. Question number 8. When we want to define a function in Python, what keyword we use? 1. Func. 2. Function. 3. Var. 4. Def. Question number 9. Which from below is not correct Boolean operator in Python? 1. AND. 2. XOR. 3. OR. 4. NOT. And the last question is which of the below is correct syntax in Python when defining for loop? 1. For loop u in users. 2. For var u in users. 3. for you in users, for each user in users. I hope you wrote down all your answers somewhere and you will be able to compare with correct answers very soon. The first thing we need to do is copy all our questions and answers into our Python file. Let's start with creating a file named quiz.py and copy the text of the questions as I just presented it to you. Let's fix the file so all the lines containing questions are proper strings in Python. We will use \n for the new line in a string, so I will use it for each question right now. I will make sure to end every question with it and place it between every answer for each question. I will store the first question in a variable named question1, and I will do the same with all other questions. It's very repetitive, so let's go fast forward. And yes, we are done now. So what we want now is to display the first question and wait for user's answer. We will use input function for that. And check my Python basics user input and dealing with errors video if you don't remember this function. We will type now in the file answer equals input from question1. Then we want to also have all the answers for all the remaining 9 questions. Let's repeat the line and store answers in variables answer2, answer3, and so on and so on. Last step in the challenge was to check what is the score of the person. We will need a variable result, which is 0 at the beginning, so result equals 0, and then we will check every single answer if it's correct. For this, we will use if statement. Now it's a moment of truth. Take your answers of your question and compare with correct answers while I will type. We remember that we get a string from the input method, so we will make sure to compare with the string representation of the answer. So let's look at the first question. The correct answer was answer number 1, so we will type if answer1 equals string 1, colon, and in an indented block, we want to add 1 point to the result. So we will type result equals result plus 1. Now let's look at question number 2. This time the correct answer was answer number 3. So we will type if answer 2 equals 3, result equals result plus 1. Now in case of question 3, the correct answer was 2. Question number 4 had answer 2. Question 5, answer number 4. Question 6, answer number 3. Question 7, answer number 1. Question 8, answer number 4. Question 9, answer number 2. And question 10, answer number 3. Okay, we calculated the result, so the only missing bit is to display the result of the quiz. Let's type print. Your score is curly brackets out of 10 questions. Dot format result. We are using format method here that I showed you in my previous video when I talked about how you could implement challenge number 1. So make sure to check this solution too, even if you haven't implemented challenge number 1 and you skipped that previously. Okay, time to check our program. Let's go to the console and type python3 quiz.py and answer questions. I'm very lazy, so I will answer to all of them with answer 1. And in the end, my result is 2 correct answers out of 10. Ouch! If we look into the code now, we see it's ugly. There is so much repetition, so many if statements that looks pretty much the same. And I hope you remember that if you do similar code multiple times for many different elements, you can use for loop. And this is what we will do now. We will replace all these 10 if statements with only one that is wrapped in for loop. Let's go back to our file. What we want to do is loop over every question from 1 to 10. So to do that, we will store all the questions in a question variable, and we will store it in a list like this. Questions equals list, and now we'll put all the variables. So question 1, question 2, question 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now when we have a list, we can iterate in a for loop over it. So we will have for question in questions colon. Okay, but now there is a problem because we have number of different variables. Answer 1, answer 2, and so on, and each of them have different correct answer. But what we can do is store in our questions variable, so the list, not only question itself, but also a correct answer and the answer that user gave. Let's change each row here to contain inner list. First will be the question, then answer from the user, and last one will be expected correct answer. So for question 1 we will have list question 1, answer 1 and 1. Then for question 2, answer 2 and 3, and so on for each of the question. Now inside our for loop we will change the code to catch all 3 values for each row at once. I hope you remember how to do that. We simply specify names for each value, separating them with comma. So we will have it like this now. For question, comma answer, comma correct answer in questions. Then, in the block, we want to check if user's answer is equal to the correct answer or not. So, if answer equals correct answer, and inside we will have the old code, result equals result plus 1. Okay, now we can delete all previous ifs. Just make sure to leave result equals 0, because we still need it. Now we can run the code in console and see that our refactoring was successful and we still have fully working quiz. Let's improve the code even more. Now we have 10 different variables with all the questions, and then we pack them inside the questions list. Maybe we could merge these two instead, and we will know which correct answer corresponds to each question. Let's copy each question inside the questions list and delete all question 1, question 2, question 3 and so on. So when we finish we have something like this, and let's run it in the console then. Python 3 quiz.py. Oh no, we have an error. This is because we just deleted all the variables question 1, question 2 and so forth. And we need them to store all answer 1, answer 2, answer 3 variables. But the thing is, we don't really need to do that before our for loop. Instead, let's move catching the user answers inside our loop. This way we will have a question, so we can display input from question, store the value and then compare it with the correct answer. It will be super nice, right? Let's do it now. We will remove all answer 1, answer 2 and so forth. Then we don't have them anymore, so we need to remove all of them from questions list. We have now each row with question and correct answer only. So in our for loop, we need to remove answer bit, and instead, inside, we'll ask user for the answer for each question. Like this, answer equals input from question. And then we can easily compare newly stored user answer with the correct answer and update user's result. Let's save and check if our program still works. Python 3 quiz.py. And yes, it works like charm. Thanks to this change, we can easily add any number of questions to the list. It's all about adding our question and correct answer to questions variable, and then our quiz will have more questions than 10. But there are other ways to make the quiz.py program even nicer. For example, now, question and answers are not very readable in the code. We can refactor the code to make it more readable for us. What we could do, for example, is changing our inner lists containing question with answer and correct answer into dictionary that contain every single bit under separate key. For example, question will be under key question, list of answers will be under key answer, and we will have correct answer separately too. Let's try to refactor it then. We will start with the first question. We will create a dictionary, so we use curly brackets. Now, under key question, we will place whole question, but we will cut all the possible answers. We can now remove \n, so the enter from the string, and now under possible answers key, we will split remaining bit into a list of answers, like this. possible answers 1. mkdir, 2. makedir, 3. dir, 4. ls. And each time we remove \n since it is no longer needed. And finally, we will store 1 under correct answer key and we can close the dict. Now let's refactor all remaining questions. It is so tedious, so let's have a little fast forward. Okay, we're done. Now when we save the file and we try to run our code, we will end up with an error. We get value error, too many values to unpack. Yeah, we just completely changed elements in questions variable from a list to a dictionary. We need to fix it. Instead of question and correct answer, we will simply catch question definition and we will have a full dictionary inside with all answers and question text and correct answer. Then we want to show question and all the possible answers. Let's print it like this. Print question definition from question, and then for possible answer in question definition possible answers, print possible answer. Finally, change input function to display 3 greater than signs instead of the questions, like this. Now correct answer should be changed into question definition correct answer. Okay, we're done here. Time to check if the code still works. Let's go back to console and run it again. Python 3 quiz.py. It still works. Perfect. This video is already quite long and I have so many ideas how to improve the code. But instead of creating 30-minute long video that nobody will watch, I will just show you one small improvement for the code now and suggest next step that you can implement on your own. So currently our program treats as a correct answer only those that are exactly 1, 2, 3 or 4. But if we add space before or after our answer, our program will treat it as incorrect thing. So if we, for example, answer space 1, where the 1 is the correct answer, our program still thinks that we answered incorrectly, which is not nice. To prevent it, we can use one of the Python built-in methods called strip. This cuts all the white space before and after text. Let's first see what happens when we always type space and then 1 instead of just 1 in every question. Previously, when we always gave 1 as an answer, our end result was 2 out of 10 questions. Let's run the program in console and type space 1 every single time. This time we had exactly 0 good answers. This is because space 1 is different from just 1. Let's open our code editor and try to fix it. In if statement, we compare answer with correct answer. Here we would like to use Python's strip method. So we will do answer.strip and open and close parentheses. This will cut all spaces before and after the answer. Okay, let's save and time to test it in console. We type python 3 quiz.py. This time, even though we typed space 1, we still got 2 answers correct out of 10. Congratulations! The possible next step here would be to make sure that if user type 1 dot or 2 dot, our program still treat it as a correct answer. It's very possible, right? Another thing we could do is not letting user to go to the next question until they provide one of the possible values, so 1, 2, 3 or 4. So if the user type hola, our program still would say, this is not one of possible answer, can you provide one for this question? We can do that using while loop. But the thing is, I haven't introduced while loop to you yet. This is my plan for the next video. I hope you had an amazing time trying to implement all the challenges I prepared for you. I must admit I had great fun filming these videos. Next time, as I already suggested, I will talk about while loops. So if you are interested what the while loop is, what is the syntax, and why I really try to avoid using them unless it's absolutely necessary, make sure to check out my next videos. So if you want to learn how to program with me, make sure to subscribe this channel and stay tuned. Have a lovely day and see you!